What's up, people? Welcome to 21 Questions. I'm your host, IC, and this is on behalf of the Sit Down UK. If you don't know who the Sit Down UK are, it is a live events company that I set up in 2017 to curate and create empowering and inspiring conversations. And when Corona hit last year, boy, we had to pivot, and we pivoted online. And so since March 2020, every Thursday 9 p.m., we've been doing a segment called 21 Questions, where we get guests on, ask them 21 questions or more, and get to really get behind the story of their highs, their lows, and understand who they really are. And so that's what we've been doing. If you want to check out our past interviews, we had an interview with Charlotte Williams last week. And if you want to check out any more, we've got season 1 and we have season 2 available for you to binge on. All you have to do is click on our IGTV logo icon, and you can watch season 1 and season 2. If you prefer YouTube, click the link in our bio and you can watch season 1 and season 2. Feel free, share, comment, spread abroad. Okay. Today, what we do is every week we try to pick a charity that we raise money for, and we are doing the Diana Award. We had the CEO come on our channel a couple of months back. And so it's one that we really connect with. It's one that we really, really love. So we're raising money for the Diana Award. What they do is they give young people the opportunity to thrive and to really grow in their passions and in their desires. So if you're down with that, make sure during the interview you can donate just through the function at the bottom of the screen, whether it's £2, £5, £6, £100, whatever you want to do. Feel free to give as you desire. All right. Today we have an amazing guest, Coralie Rose. She is the founder of Road Casting, a street casting agency that helps put the right representation in the right place. And we're going to find out a bit more about her and her journey in a moment. Coralie, let me know if you want. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go Road Cast Coralie. All right. I'm going to send a request to you right now, Coralie. We're coming over to you. How are you doing? Let me know in the comments section. I know it's hot today, but let me know how you are doing. Let me get some music on. Coralie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me. This is so
Come on, my
nice.
pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. I love your setup, all the books.
Thank you. It's my bookshelf.
How's your day today?
Um, it's been a pretty good day. It's been a pretty classic day for me. As you know, it's school holidays, children's
Ooh,
the kids' school holidays. I call it the working single mama shuffle, it's like a proper juggle. Everything's in the
I can
air.
imagine. Jeez.
But it's really fun.
And
I
you,
quite like, sorry.
so now you go.
Um, no, I was saying I quite like like during lockdown and stuff when a lot of the boundaries went away and we got to see what our kids do during the day and they get to see what we do during the day, it's quite
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Trust me. Into each other's worlds.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, welcome to 21 questions. You have 21 questions or more that you're going to be asked. You have, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Listen, I normally do the asking of the questions.
But you've got one pass card. So if there's a question you
Have
don't want
I?
to
Okay,
answer,
that's really good to know. That's
you
really
can
good to
use your
know.
pass card. To everyone that is joining us, welcome to 21 Questions. We do this every Thursday, 9 p.m. I'm your host, IC, and this is the Sit Down UK. We had to migrate to online because of Uncle Corona. So we've been doing this every Thursday since March 2020. So I think we are on the 67th episode. This must be the 67th episode. So if you want to check it out, make sure you do by the IGTV icon or click the link in my bio. You've got YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you want to do, you can listen to it all the way. If you come through halfway listening to this, don't worry. When we finish here, it's going to go straight onto the front of our profile and you can watch it from top to bottom. All right. Cool. We're going to jump in light work. We're going to do light work. So I'm going to give you a quick 5 questions. Don't think too much about them. Just
Uh-oh,
answer them.
uh-oh.
On a scale, so tell me, how are you feeling right now? Do you feel nervous?
I'm actually quite nervous. Yeah, I've got to say
Really?
I'm quite nervous. Yeah. I
Am I
think I'm
that
going to
bad?
enjoy it. And no, I love it. I love it. I love this show. I love this. I love the Sit Down UK.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
really pleased to be here. I'm really pleased to be having this chat.
Me too.
So yeah, let's have some fun. Let's go
All
for
right, let's get
it. Go
it.
easy on me.
So, um, finish this sentence for me. I feel most confident when.
Wow. Um, so that you said you were going to start light.
That is light.
You just said that. I feel most confident when I've had a good night's sleep and a good
Oh,
meal, and I'm like good in my body,
yeah, I
you
like that.
know,
Yeah.
then
What's a
I
good
can
meal
move
for you?
forward. Like something that's going to sustain me, that's going to like not make me spike too high too
Yeah,
quick, you know. I'm pretty plant-based. But yeah, something fresh, some fruit. I'm really into my fruit.
nice. And for
Yeah, just
you,
something to
what time is bedtime to get a good night's sleep?
bedtime.
Yeah.
Wow, I wish it was earlier. I tend to go to bed about midnight, 1 o'clock, if I'm honest. I struggle to go to bed earlier. Like if I have an early night, it's like 10, and that's once in a blue moon. I'm quite, I'm quite, I wish I could sleep more,
Yeah, trust me.
wake up
Don't
quite
we all?
early.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Um, s-
But I put my time in, I slept a lot when I was a teenager and in my 20s, so it's fair enough.
yeah, just tails off now. One song that really uplifts you. So if you're having a bad day, what is one song that you can put on that would just change that mood for you?
Oh, wow, that's a brilliant question. I have quite a lot. I go through phases where I listen to like songs on repeat.
Yeah, same.
But I know there's people that make playlists, and I know that I can put on one of their playlists, or DJ friends of mine, Rebel Clash, for example, my friend Mike, they make amazing playlists, and I
Mm,
know that I can put it on, and it can be a new thing or an old thing, and it will always get me going.
yeah.
And the other thing that I do, if I want, is sometimes I'll play a chant, like a prayer or a
Okay.
Sanskrit chant or something that can like get me in a groove as well,
Yeah.
get me
Nice.
feeling, can like switch the energy around for me, which is important.
Love that. Love that. Um, Something that made you smile this week.
Oh, lots of things. This is making me smile. Like genuinely, I've been smiling a lot
Oh, good.
from this and on this now.
Okay.
So
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's really nice.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
It's really
Um,
nice.
One meal you could eat forever. If they put that on your table, on your plate, you could just go
Wow.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every day.
Listen, we eat a lot of hummus at work. Yeah,
Mm.
so it's not that's what I choose, but I think I do eat a lot of hummus. I see my chef, my friend chef in the audience.
Big
I
up,
wonder
chef.
what he'd cook for me if he could cook for me one meal every day for the rest of my life. I don't know. I'd probably have to go really boring, something like lentils and cabbage and rice.
Hey, if that's what it is, that's what it is. When did you last cry and why?
Wow. When did I last cry? I cry quite a lot. I cry at films, at commercials. Like, I'm easily affected by things.
Mm,
It's like sweating. It's just another movement of energy for me.
I love that.
It's
I love that.
so yeah, I cry a lot regularly.
Hmm. And do you find it quite cathartic?
Yeah, I don't think there's any point holding on to these feelings. The only way out is through.
Mm,
So sometimes you cry and you kind of move on. I
yeah.
don't want to dwell in it, but I want to feel it, allow myself to feel it as well.
Allow myself to feel it. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, this one's fun. What's your most precious item that you're currently hoarding?
Hoarding, you know what? You've caught me. I am the worst hoarder. It's
Yeah,
it's like
that's
it's
why we
completely
asked
out
you.
of control. I'm completely out of control. So I wish I just had one thing, but I collect a lot of things. I have lots of precious things. It's really tricky for me to let go of things. As you can see from my bookshelf, this
Yeah,
is just
yeah,
one example.
yeah. I'm the same. I've got like old cinema tickets and
Mm,
old cassettes from radio set days.
mm,
Um, a shot glass from me and my wife. We went to, where was it? Not Dover, like Devon area, and it was just a good time. And I thought, the moment, I need something from the moment. and
Oh, how lovely.
I took the shot glass, and so every single time I see it, I remember it. So no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
For me, some of these things they're like visual anchors for me. So it's like you were saying,
Yes.
if you play a song that can make you feel good, yeah. Some of these little mementos or these trinkets, they're like little keys for me to
Mm.
remember a different mood or a different energy
Mm.
or something. And so, but I'm a bit hoardy. I need to go a bit minimalist. It's the
Uh,
mission.
Zyra Ramble says it's hard letting go of objects, especially when you're emotionally linked to them.
Hmm.
100%, 100%.
Absolutely. Hi, nice to see you.
Um,
It's so sweet. I'm seeing so many lovely people popping out. Thank you
Pick
all
up
for
all the
watching,
people for watching.
honestly.
Um, Tell me, what was one favorite video that you and your sister used to watch on MTV Selects?
Oh, wow. My sister and I, basically our training, I think, for the jobs that we do now, a lot of our training happened in those very, very
Wow.
formative years where we were watching a lot of MTV Select, and just a lot of television in general. Like, I think that's one of the reasons I work in short form. We both work in entertainment. Like,
Mm.
it really molded me anyway. I was really inspired in that time. What video from that time on Channel U? Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm going to say one that my sister was in, like she was in a classic Ja Rule video. I hope I'm getting this right. No, she wasn't. She was in, yeah, she was in a Ja Rule thing, and she was in an Outcast video. And that was like at the time, she flew to America to do that. You know, it was like so huge before these days of Instagram. My sister was like absolutely killing it internationally.
Come on.
And yeah, so I'll definitely say one of hers.
You know, I was on her page the other day and I was like, this face looks very familiar, but I couldn't really place it. So
Yeah.
I need to go and watch those videos back.
Yeah, she did this amazing program that was called Candy Girls, and it was a bunch of UK video girls. Because at the time when we were like coming up, it was when MTV Select and lots of these music channels were just starting. Yeah, so the
Mm.
volume of music videos that were getting made in the UK went up drastically. Like the industry really boomed at that stage because there
Hmm.
was just many more channels to have your videos on, you know. And so she was on this Candy Girls show and she won the show, you know, and we've got great friends still from that show. It was
Come
amazing.
on.
And she went to America and yeah, it was a really big deal and it was really cool. It really yeah, she was able to really shine.
Mm. Love it. We got Emily.
Yeah.
When did you last follow? When did you last follow your gut and it really paid off?
Oh, it's a good question. I'm quite in tune with my gut. If I don't listen to it, it really backfires on me. Like I've got a really strong intuition,
Mm.
and I'm beginning to learn the difference also between intuition, anxiety,
Mm-mm.
excitement, nerves. Like there's subtleties to
Yeah.
it, which I'm sort of now trying to like get into the language of it more. But I listen to my intuition a lot, and it can be like about really stupid things, you know, even like crossing the street at certain times, you know, and
Mm.
then you might bump into someone. I love how life works like that.
Mm. Love that. Your last question then is, what is the biggest, are you ready? What is the biggest misconception about Coralie?
Oh, that's so funny. I think people think I'm quite tough,
Oh,
but
but you're saying it's the opposite.
no, I'm not the opposite. Like I can be tough, yeah, but I'm also a softie.
Mm.
So, you know,
It depends which one you catch.
yeah. But maybe that's not, I don't know actually. I don't wonder what people think about me that much actually. So I don't really know what the biggest misconception is. But I think at work, in a professional environment, like I think if
Mm.
you work for me, that it can be the misconception is that I'm tough. Like I don't mince my words. Like I don't pull any punches and I'm like
Mm.
direct. That's how I was trained. That's how like, you know, I don't really have time for all those excuses and stuff, you know.
Mm.
A
Come
little bit
on.
of tough love.
Tough love it is. Oh, that was your quick fire round. Light work, like I said, light
Ooh,
work.
that was quick fire. Oh, sorry, I was rambling.
That's fine. No, guys, can we have a round of applause, please, in the comment section? That was light
Oh my
work,
gosh.
and that was just to ease you in. All right. So I wanted to ask about, in terms of your. I'm a father, and we've got a 2-year-old And I'm constantly, every single time I do these interviews, I'm constantly understanding as people talk about their upbringing, how important that upbringing is, how powerful both your mother, your father, or whoever is around you at the time, how powerful what they pour into you becomes who you are today and in fullness. And I wondered, with your parents, what were the things that you feel they poured into you that really you see that you live out day by day now, or you carry with you?
It's funny you say this. Just as you say this, my son walked into the room. Are you okay?
Hey,
Yeah, help yourself to anything.
anything.
Anything. Right now. Go for it. You wanna come say hi? No? Okay.
Hey,
Um,
Laser.
um, say hi. Yeah. Okay, say hi. There's a few. Come and say hi. Okay.
It's all right.
Make sure you have something to drink as well, okay? Some water, yeah? Thank you. Being a parent, wow, I think a lot of it from being a parent, I recognize what my parents did.
Mhm.
You know, some subtleties that I hadn't maybe noticed at the time, like the real work of being a parent, you know.
Goodness me.
Um, it's funny because I bumped into some friends in the street today when I was with my son, and we were saying that also there's things that I miss that are from neither of my parents are mixed and very different heritages, and that there's stuff that they learned from their parents and their
Mm.
family who may or may not be from here necessarily. Actually, neither of them are from here, you know. And so much is lost along the way. And I think as an adult, there are bits from my childhood that I miss, and I'm not quite sure what they are. You
Uh-huh.
know, because there's things that happened like before I was 5. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and it can be smells or food or just, my parents were incredible in the sense that they always took my sister and I traveling. Like, we've been to so many countries around the world. We
wow.
spent so much time in beautiful places, and often places that were, in developing countries, that weren't like touristy at all, that
Wow.
were quite risky and dangerous at times to go to these places for us as a young family,
Yeah,
and like my dad just took us on mad adventures. And I think that was a blessing, like seeing and being in so many different places and cultures and languages, and it's opened me up without in a different way to just reading about things,
yes.
like I say again, the smells, the textures, the cultures, the sounds, the music, the light, like all these things
Mm.
have really affected me. And I think that's now coming out in me as an
Love it.
adult, and my like preferences and my style, and
Mm.
like my heritage basically, because I have mixed heritage and I've seen lots of things. It's all like a patchwork,
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
like someone says in the comments, yeah, travel is
Travel
education. Like,
education.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And how has that kind of shaped or formed your relationship with them both from a
Oh,
child to how it is
yeah.
now?
So I felt so lucky. They always took us with them. Um, they're really open. They really, letting us know how it is, like how the world is. Like they didn't hide stuff from us, our
Mm.
parents. Um,
Kept it
and
100.
yeah, they worked hard, like really, really hard. Like, had no family, like built, worked really, really hard on their own with no help to give us like wonderful things. And like the one thing that we did, even if like often we were broke and like we had bailiffs coming to the door and school fees
Mm.
weren't being paid and we had like all sorts of madness, my parents always took us on a really good holiday. And it was like that time where we would bond, and we would often go
Mm.
to, we went a lot to Kenya. We spent a lot of time there, but also to Venezuela when I was younger, in South America. And the holidays weren't expensive, but it was time for us to really bond as a family
Mm.
together. Yeah, so
That's nice.
yeah.
That's nice. Like, even as my daughter grows up, I think that's one of the things I really, really want to do. I want to travel. I didn't really
Mm,
travel much when I was younger, but I really feel that there is power in just seeing the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? That
mm,
what's happening
mm.
in Colombia, what's happening in Belgium,
Yeah, because we're
because
not
it's,
told.
yeah, or we just read it. We just read it from the
Yeah,
books from school.
yeah.
Um,
But also within the country, like I think my parents also made an effort. Like my dad took me to Scotland and to do things like that. It isn't always like,
Mm,
big international trips, but or just even like locally, like with they, they've always been sort of curious and taken us to places,
mm.
which I think is
Yeah, you
is
kind of carry with you now.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Your dad used to have a Japanese restaurant. What
Yeah.
what was it
I love
called?
it. You did so much research.
Oh, we got it. You know
His
what?
restaurants were called Feng Sushi.
Boy, do I
Yeah,
know?
and but there's a few of them left. I think there's one in Notting Hill Gate at the moment, but
Mm,
he had a few for a while. One in London Bridge,
wow,
Fulham Road, a Chalk Farm just opposite the Roundhouse. And they were great, I worked there when I was 14 years old and we
wow.
built everything ourselves. Like you sanded the wood, painted the walls, like we all worked there in the kitchen. It was like a proper family thing. All my friends at school worked there. He even before we had the restaurants or even while there, we'd do like parties and stuff. We'd all be underage working at these parties, catering for him, like just so it was amazing. Like he was one of the first people to bring sushi also to this country in that kind of way, in a way that we know now. Like my son, sushi to him is a normal meal, like
Wow.
fish and chips would be, or stewed chicken, or like it's just one of those meals. And sushi, like 20, 30 years ago in England, no, it
Yeah,
wasn't a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I'll big up to Daddy. What did seeing that and being involved in that? What did you learn about business or about entrepreneurship in that time?
Listen, my parents grafted, and my mum still does so hard.
Mm,
And I find it sometimes I've questioned myself and I said, isn't it weird that I've chosen to have my own business when I saw how it can be like this?
mm.
You're never not working. You're never not working. It's
Yeah.
your own business. It's a lot. You know what it's like,
Mm,
People see the fun bits, but it's quite a lot to carry,
mm. In your head,
you
and
know?
it's not only you that you're taking care of. I was talking to our guest last week, Charlotte Williams, and she said one of her biggest sometimes anxieties at the end of each month is I not only have to take care of my own life and my bills, but
Yeah,
I'm responsible for six other,
absolutely.
households and
Absolutely.
paying them, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why people are like always about, oh, it's good to be an entrepreneur, like something not about the 9 to 5ers and stuff. But I completely, it's hard to have a business as well, like I do my job, plus I have to run a business. You know
mm,
what I mean? It's like it's two jobs. And, I think the 9 to 5ers are great. And like also working for corporates is good. Like it's everybody does their individual thing. But anyway, and my parents both were entrepreneurs and work really hard.
mm.
And so they instilled that, I think, in my sister and I. Like it's I'm a bit of a workaholic.
Same. Speaking of your sisters, you and her had a Instagram page, the Tropical Roses.
Wow,
Um,
I love it. This is so good. I hope someone's recording this.
what that sister? Do you have any other siblings?
There's just the two of us that I know of.
That's
But I mean, if you're about to bring another one in, I would be so happy. Can you imagine? Listen, it's like
um,
my dream that someone comes and knocks on the door. Honestly.
tell me about that sisterly love that you two have, because she works also for Adidas in the Adidas camp and Beyonce's camp, and it's sometimes you can see how there's such a crossover between what you two do. Um,
Yeah.
what is that? What is the how can I put it? What is the core of that relationship? What makes it work?
I feel so lucky to have a sister like mine. We get on so well. There's a huge love there, and my sister was living in Los Angeles until for the last 15 years,
Ah,
and we have such a tight bond. And with her daughter, and she works for Ivy Park actually, and they've just launched something today, and it's
oh,
it's
cool.
non-stop. It's non-stop work. She's a proper boss,
Hmm.
so it's amazing. Like it's really inspiring, it's really encouraging, it's really humbling, it's really affirming, and it's amazing.
If she was here right now, what would you say to her?
What would I say to her?
If she was in
uh
here,
what about what? I'd probably be like, pass me my glass or something.
and then what would you say from your heart to her heart?
Um, I'm so proud of my sister. Like my sister went out there to LA with knowing no one, no
Mm.
family, and worked so hard. She went from say, like I say, that show Candy Girls, and had done some modeling, had done some bits, went out to LA to do an internship and got a job at Adidas and's been there for 15 years. Works for Beyonce, man. Like honestly, what? Like it's insane. She's a proper hard working and she's an incredible mother. And we're good friends. We're dive partners. We go scuba diving together. My sister wrote this incredible show. We shot it in Jamaica. It was called Gold Diggers. It was an amazing show about diving, and we're dive buddies. And like that,
Oh,
we're not
cool.
just sisters. We're friends. We're dive buddies, and she really inspires me. Work wise.
Oh, big up, big up. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, cool. I want to jump on to your first kind of, I guess your first kind
Joking.
of performance stint. You were acting, being an actor,
Yeah, yeah.
being in lots of films. I wanted to ask you, you've mentioned it before in other interviews about the limitations of your roles in terms of the things that you were offered, in terms of the roles that you were given. Were there any, sorry, when did that become more apparent to you that, oh my gosh, that why do I just keep getting these type of
Wow.
roles? Why did I just keep getting these kind of
These kind of
scripts?
things. It's a really good question. And it's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently.
Oh,
And I um, when I was an actress, I was much, much younger and in a very different position. And I didn't understand the industry at all. So I was very naive to it. And I just liked acting, but then I kept realizing I was getting the part when I was just playing like the nanny or the babysitter, and you didn't really know where she was from, but she was just like foreign. Do you know what I mean? She was
yeah.
maybe like Brazilian or Indian or like vaguely mixed, but like no one, like ethnically ambiguous,
Mm,
and always a slightly dodgy accent and stuff. And but I wasn't really, often getting in the rooms that I wanted to, and I wasn't quite sure why. And now, as a casting director, like I see things completely differently,
mm,
and I understand much more how the game is played. And I think that I've got so much more power. So I've been in rooms where I can push back on things and I can like offer different ideas and I can offer different perspectives and I
mm.
can move things along. And I think for me, that's been great for the last like 10, 15 years. There is something in me that misses acting and like telling stories.
Oh.
Um,
Is
yeah.
there is there something that's come out that you would have loved to have had a part in?
Oh, that's interesting. No, I'm a fan of other people's work as well. Like I'm not saying I can do better than them because I
Yeah.
meet amazing actors all the time. I'm just saying that I kind of miss a bit of the storytelling,
Mm,
and the whole thing that goes with playing a character and
mm,
someone's written something and you're bringing that to life and the work that you can do as an actor, like as when it's your craft, as opposed to
yeah.
just like looking pretty or whatever, like is amazing work. Like I did a lot of
Trust.
training, like method training, and it's
Oh.
it's it's quite deep, and I really enjoyed a lot of that work. So there's part of me that misses that, but I'm cooking a little something. It's not acting, but I'm cooking a little
Oh.
something.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna get the exclusive.
So we'll see what happens.
When you around the time you were gonna have you had your son, acting was something that you felt you might want to put on pause because you didn't want to be able to, you didn't want to have to just drop everything at the drop of a hat and be in another country and be gone away from your son. Is there parts of you that are there parts of you that feel you could have made that work? You could have still juggled it, or
The
you have,
acting.
yeah, and being a full-time mother.
Yeah, I think I could. I think I could have, but I was also going through a breakup of my
Mm,
relationship with my son's father,
mm,
who was in a similar industry and was going to be away a lot. And my parents were going through a breakup, and I needed to make some real money. And the thing about acting is that it's quite high and low, like. So I made the decision to focus on my business so I could be at home, to start my business, to start roadcasting, so that I could have a more consistent life to be around for my son while he was so young, especially because I knew that at the time his father, who was in the music business, was away working. I wanted to be stable and anchor and consistent.
Yes.
And that's what I poured, I poured a lot into.
Yeah, yeah. And I said, hey, I salute that because you chose what was most pertinent and important to your heart, and
Yeah,
that will pay off forever. That will pay off
yeah.
forever. Oh, look who's in the room. Sisters
Hey
in the room.
everybody, my sister's in the room, Pat's in the room, Rebel Clash,
Hey, Emily.
Sarah, Sheffy.
Emily, we were just singing your praises. We were just singing your
Yes, Emily.
praises. You
It's
mentioned
very nice
about,
to have you here. Thank you. Oh, my
so,
mum's watching. She told her. I love
oh,
it.
what?
We call my mum Interpol because she knows everything.
Love it. During the time of acting, just like you mentioned about the money, and so there were different odd jobs that you did, and waitressing. You did waitressing for a long period of time, and I wanted to. I've done waitressing. I used to work in the diner in Camden, and I realized that I love serving. Like I really love. Like if you could sit down, you're like, what do you want? And you want a burger, fries. You don't have to push me to try and upsell you. I genuinely want to know, do you want more? And I really want you to when I was working there, I really wanted you to walk away having had a good time, and I was part of that. And I wondered, in your days of waitressing, was there anything that you kind of took away from, because some people just look at that as a menial job you have to do to get by. But I wondered for you, was there anything you took away from that time? Any lessons?
Yeah, a lot. And I think it's another thing I learned from my parents, to be honest. My mother, even at times when they were hard financially, she always threw these beautiful dinner parties and invited friends over. It was like when she had no money, that was when she had to give and do something nice and be
Wow.
surrounded by love and make something out of nothing. And she goes even
Wow.
with a simple omelette and a salad, and a little bit of bread, you can have like a really nice meal with friends. All you need is the laughter. And she would always
Yeah.
maybe put some flowers and some candles on the table, and that would feed us. And so there's something about seeing my parents being quite wonderful, beautiful, elegant hosts, always having people at home, like for Sunday lunch, we're having guests over and stuff, that I think extends into the hospitality business. So, and like I said, my dad had restaurants, so
Yeah.
and I was working in them from the age of 14. So, I don't know, we're just used to, you want people to come over and have a good time, or if you're working in a restaurant, it's the same thing. I totally agree with you. Like it's not so much about upselling because you want the house to make more money. It's
Yeah.
like you say, it's like, what more can I get you? It's
Yeah.
like, it's
Trust me.
such a
Yeah.
lovely way to look at it. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
more joy.
Yeah. 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 I remember there'd be times when they'd be like, oh, they might want to get up to get a napkin. Maybe I didn't bring enough. I'd be like, no, no, no. You sit down. I've
I
got,
got this.
I've got this. Like, you're here to
Yeah.
just enjoy. Me, I'm here to serve you. And I think when I look at different aspects of my life, I can see, someone even wrote it in the comment section, that my love language might be acts of service. And it is. When people do stuff for me, that is I always think, yeah, but that was way beyond what you needed to do. And when you do that for me, whew, like someone will post, if they post the flyer, for today's conversation. That's a lot for me, man. That's giving me £100 or
Yeah.
something, because you didn't have to, And so when people
Yeah.
do the things that they don't have to, for me that means a lot. And so I want to do the same.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I enjoyed working in restaurants. I worked in some amazing restaurants, like one of the best restaurants in the world, and I learned so much from working there. And you learn so much about people. And being an actor, it's
People,
actually a really good job to do because you get to see how people behave, you
yeah,
know? So it's good. But I was also like shit at times. I did one night at this restaurant called Zuma in Knightsbridge, and I couldn't handle it. Like I just couldn't handle it. Like I don't know if you've been there.
No,
But
no.
anyway, I did one night, half a night at it, and I had to sneak off halfway through the night, and I went home.
What was
But I
wrong with
then
it?
worked at this other restaurant called Everything. It's just not where I wanted to
Oh, okay.
work at all. I worked for years and years at a restaurant. Here's my son, Laser.
Hey, Laser.
I worked for years and years at a restaurant called the River Cafe
Mm.
um, in Fulham, which is one of the most amazing
Wow.
restaurants in the world, an Italian restaurant run by two amazing women, one of which has sadly passed away. But it's an amazing restaurant, and I learned so much from working there. And it was like the who's who. It was like you just knew who I learned how business was done from working in that restaurant.
Mm.
So like I never discount anyone who's got like another job or a side hustle or something while they're trying to get to their goal, because that's where you learn about life and that's where you learn about business. It's not, you have to do many things to learn many
Yeah.
things. It's not always like straightforward like that. You never know who
Trust.
you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to learn.
So, do you know what?
Yeah.
I really believe that, just like you said,
Do you want to
I
hear?
really think you can learn more if it's not just from your industry. Like, you can really learn.
Yeah, you
Like
can.
when I was trying to get some extra money, so I was doing Amazon deliveries, and I understood why when the
You really
Amazon
struggle.
delivery man knocks your door
Mm,
and he leaves quickly, it's for a
mm,
reason. It's because there's a set time they have to deliver everything, like
mm,
36
mm, mm,
boxes.
mm, mm. It's
So
crazy.
yes, I'm going to knock your door and I'm going to run, but you
Mm,
learn
mm.
it only by, opening up
Doing.
yourself. 100%.
Yeah. Mm.
Big up to everyone that has joined us in the middle here. This is 21 Questions with Coley Rose.
I just had to
Um,
plug in.
It's all right. We've been talking about
I
her
just plugged in.
childhood. We've been talking about big up her sister, big up
Is
Emily
that gonna
inside.
work? No.
We've been talking about careers, waitressing, acting, and then we're going to jump into representation at
I've
the
got a really
moment.
good story about acting, about
Yeah.
waitressing. Our friend the Robesons, my friend Floss, her father, once I was at their house, and her father said to me, "Oh, what do you do?" And I said, "I'm an actress." And he goes, "Oh, great. Which restaurant do you work at?"
Oh wow. Automatic.
Because that's what all actors in LA and in London do, if they haven't made it yet.
Get on it.
Anyway,
I want to talk about representation but underrepresentation. And from your point of view, what is the damage done through underrepresentation? So when people cannot see
well, I
themselves
mean,
from your personal,
I
from your
think
personal
it's
experience.
yeah, I think it's I think it's important to be able to see yourself, to identify with what we're being, constantly bombarded with all day long from now such a young age. And that unless you've seen it, it's hard to believe that you can achieve it, or that those things exist. And so I think it's important for people to be able to see as much as possible. It's like what I was saying about traveling. It's enabled me to see some amazing things.
Mm.
Like I say, when I go to Kenya, we take a lot of these small planes. All the pilots are black, or a lot of the pilots are women. To some people, that's like like a woman pilot.
Mm.
Like it's not an incredible.
Oh, oh, you've gone quiet now. Can you hear us? Can you guys hear me? I can't hear you. I think it's going to go back and come back on. Guys, if you're with us so far, let us know in the comment section, how are you finding the conversation so far? Oh, so you can hear me. Can you hear Coley? Oh, you can't hear Coley. Maybe, okay. Okay, not Coley. Okay. Maybe if you come out and then come back in. So yeah, Coley, if you come out, no, I can't hear you. No. Let me see if this works. Hold on. So Coralie, if you go out and then you come back in. Okay, she's going to try that. Cool. Big up to everyone that has joined us. 21 Questions with Coralie Rose. I'm your host, IC. This is the Sit Down UK. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you want to watch this back, as soon as it finishes, it's going to be on the front page of this profile. So the Sit Down UK. So make sure you are following, okay? Make sure you are following, because as soon as it finishes, it's going to go straight onto the page. Let us know in the comment section how you've been finding it. And let's try this. We're going to go over to Coralie now for the roadcasting one. Cool. Let's see if that works. All right.
In the room.
Oh, cool. No worries.
Sorry, the phone rang. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
No worries at all. It's cool. I wanted to ask you. Yeah, I was asking you about the damage it does, but I wanted to ask you about.
Oh yes,
power.
absolutely. I do think it does damage, because like I was saying, I think you need to be able to see things to know that you can achieve them and to know that you can be them. And that's why I think things like travel are good, but also representation in the advertising that we get. Whereas when I was young, there was not very many mixed race families on TV. You'd maybe get a black family or an Asian family, but you wouldn't necessarily get like a mixed race family. There weren't that many people that looked like me. And then I remember, when working in casting, like I can actually affect that. I can make a difference in that. And I've had like DMs from girls, like, Bengali girls or whatever, saying to me, I never thought I'd see a girl like me on TV, or girl in hijab saying, that wasn't a thing. Like, I'm so pleased, thank you so much. Like, and that's, for me, is really big and important. It's like, it's like you were saying earlier about, it feels like it's more than money, it's like, oh wow, this has actually like had like an effect, and it's like something I can leave, because now it's like normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, even to be honest, like, because it came up in the photo that you posted, I thought about it in the Dove photo that you posted of me. Yeah, when we did that, it was so risque. There weren't campaigns with women of all sizes in their underwear on TV and in the papers. There weren't. Like, I remember calling my boyfriend at the time, and from onset, and I went outside and I was like, what am I doing? Like, is this okay? Like, like it's going to be on buses and stuff. Like, I'm in my underwear. Like, it wasn't a thing, It was very risky. And now you see lots and lots of campaigns like that. And some of them, lots of them are amazing. There's a recent Marks and Spencer's campaign. You see girls, again, of all different sizes, all different shapes, in the campaign. And things have really, come along a lot. And I think it's important for us to be able to recognize ourselves.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's we're lucky that things have started to move along, I reckon, to change.
What then would you say is the flip side? If the underrepresentation creates a lot of damage, what have you seen the positive effects of representation? Is there any wow stories you can remember? Any DMs, any messages?
Yeah, like loads of DMs, like, about people that do say, like, I never imagined to see a girl that looked like me on TV. Thank you so much. People that have had their first breaks that now are like in the industry and and have careers because I street cast them. People that wouldn't have been like in model agencies before, and we just thought were cool, and we took photos and put them in jobs, and so lots of things have changed in a positive and impacted people's lives positively. Like Maria Idrissi, she was working in Westfield, and I saw her with my son. She had like no followers, and H&M needed someone for their campaign, and I recommended her and put her up for the job. She got the job. It's the first ever girl in a hijab. It's changed her life. She like travels the world, talking about modest fashion. Like, she has a huge career. She's an incredibly intelligent, charismatic, wonderful human being, and she deserves to have this, this platform and this stage to be able to do the work that she's doing. it hadn't happened before. Like for me, I'm like, oh cool, like it's just because me and her caught a vibe. I was like, yeah, you're great, can I take your photo? You know, and it's like, yeah, cool, someone else needs to see this, you know.
And taking that chance really just gives so many behind her the opportunity to come through.
Exactly.
But even for me, my daughter, you know, it gives her, in a crazy way, it's creating a normality for her as she
Yeah.
grows up. The things that
Yeah,
she's seeing on
really
TV.
important. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot. It's a big thing I do. So through your company, Roadcasting, experts and pioneers at street casting, finding just the everyday people and putting them in the most powerful places in front of people's eyes. What have you found?
I don't know how to rest my phone.
Oh, you don't have to rest it. Anyway,
Go on. I'm finding a position.
Okay,
I'm
right.
working on it. I'm listening.
What have you found has been the pushbacks that people have, whether it's companies, directors, producers? What have been some of the pushbacks on diversity and inclusion that they've had? And where do you think it comes from?
I think a lot of people are scared. I think a lot of people previously also have been scared about using the wrong language. So they avoid certain subjects because they don't want to say the wrong words. So a lot of the work that we do has been like mirroring back, you know, better ways to say things. And that's a constant thing for us. Like I'm also learning as we go, like things are, you know, changing every day. And, you know, in regards to how people want to be referred to, you know, like I say, for example, with pronouns, and, you know, I did this wonderful mentorship scheme. I was part of the Women in Film and TV, and there was a wonderful woman on that course, Caroline, who's deaf, and she does, you know, a lot of work for empowering disabled people in the workplace, you know. And there's so much stuff that I learned that I just wasn't aware of. And when we're doing casting calls, for example, we're often looking for certain types of people, and you know, like I've learned a lot of important messaging from people around me, and I go and seek that out, and because I think it's part of my job to be able to message that back to big brands, and because I get the opportunity to be in these rooms, which often are a monoculture, you know, because that's just how the company's grown. And, you know, maybe they want to think about doing diversity, but they don't know where to start, you know, like they, you know, but we get the opportunity to be in those rooms and to, like I say, to mirror some of that language back. It's just a small thing of what we do, but like I do feel like we do have a lot of those conversations every day. A lot of it's NDA'd, of course, but they do happen, and I do feel like happy to be on this side, happy to be able to be, you know, be at the table.
Yeah. And do you feel there is a genuine, with the death of George Floyd, there was, in some circles, there was a performative reaction. But having these conversations, being at the table, are you finding that there is a genuine desire to explore diversity and inclusion that comes from people's willingness rather than feeling the pressure from the people?
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of box ticksing. I think there's a lot of optics. I think there's a lot of whitewashing still that happens on jobs. You know, I think there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations happening, but there's more that need to be had. You know, I think there is some stuff that still needs a lot of work. You know, a lot of work. I do think there's been a positive change. I do think it's going in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, and I'm really pleased, like I say, to be here and to be able to, you know, put whatever I can, you know, like contribute in some way to the conversation. And like I say, I'm learning every day as well. I think it's, you know, it's
two-way,
because I know what I know, you know what I mean. So like, and there's lots of things that I don't know. So yeah.
Troy asks, what's your heritage?
I'm mixed, and I recently did a DNA test thing, and I found it so interesting. But my mother, I'm like 30% African. I found out that I'm 30% Jewish.
Wow.
And the rest European. But I'm also Egyptian.
Wow.
And I think like a few other things. I don't have it in front of me. My memory is really bad for things like that. But I'm really mixed, and I always knew that. Because my mum is from Belgium and DRC, which used to be called Zaire.
Wow.
And my father was adopted, so I didn't know where I was from. But
wow.
I guess he was North African Jewish. So very interesting. But I've spent a lot of time in my life in Venezuela, South America, like I spoke about earlier. My father lives in Kenya, so I spent a lot of time there. I went to a French school, and I feel really, I don't know where like home is. I really want to go to Zaire, where my mother's from, to DRC.
Wow.
It's I really want to go there.
When you just said you don't know where home is that something that plays on your mind sometimes?
Well, I mean, I guess I know home is like in me, yeah. So it's like it's wherever I go, it's wherever it's like it's in me, and it's my son, for example, you know. But I'm British. I've got a British passport, but I'm not like I know I'm. Do you know what I mean? Like but a lot of people, if they're Black British, they have their home where they're from, like their country. They know it from maybe not from their parents, from their grandparents, or maybe they've been, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Zaire, I haven't seen it, and because my family is so mixed, there's not like one place, and like my father was adopted, so he doesn't have like a land either, you know. So I feel like Venezuela, where we spent a lot of time when I was younger, I thought I'd be living there now. Like I feel quite like close to that country for some reason, you know. But I have mixed ancestors, so I feel like, you know, that my ancestry is deep and rich and rich and rich. So actually, home, like someone said in the comment, home is where your heart is. Absolutely,
you're a child
and
of the
it's
world.
in me, and I can go anywhere. It's wherever my spirit guides you. Exactly.
Yeah. A few more things, and then I won't keep you too long. Accolades. As you mentioned, that H&M Close the Loop campaign was very pivotal. You did the Real Beauty Rankin Dove campaign, and Rankin had a quote. He said, "We fought hard to get a really diverse group of women because people were uncertain about it." He said, "We won. We won that battle of reduced retouching, and we won the battle of diversity and uniqueness." So you are again in a place where you're at the forefront. You won the Diversity Award in 2017 for entrepreneurship. You've got a Grammy attached to you through Black is King. I wanted to ask, of all these accolades, and there's more that I haven't even mentioned, how do you handle praise? How do you handle praise and awards and goodness? How do you handle it? Because I heard in an interview you'd mentioned before that sometimes it happens, but you just pass it. And I wanted to know for you, like, how do you handle all that praise and deal with it? Because you do a lot.
I'm learning. I struggle to. I disassociate a little bit, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But
why?
I'm learning. I mean, I do always keep going to the next thing, you know. It's like often the accolades are about a job that's already done, and I'm now on the next job, and I'm freelance, and that job was then that paid me then. I spent that money. I need to do the next job to make the next money. You know what I mean? You're only as good as your last job as well. So there's a bit of that. You know, there's a bit of an imposter syndrome and anxiety that I'm not good enough. Do you know what I mean? And that comes out even in these things, in these situations. You know, the accolades feel good. The work feels good. It's nice. You know, attribution is important. It's really, I'm learning to recognize it for what it is. It's really amazing to be included in these things, to be surrounded by such incredible people. I work with such incredible people. I'm inspired every day, you know, and to be included in those circles and in those rooms and with those awards. You know, I won 2 awards recently for casting, and so Beyonce, the brown skin girl, was amazing, and it won a Grammy, and it won numerous other awards, including Cannes Lion. And to be involved in something like that was like, you know, incredible, like really, really big for me, really nice, really good for my team. Like it's a production company that I work with a lot as well. So like amazing director, like it's just, you know, like it's top tier, you know, like really. but Macmillan, the job that we did then, again, for you know, cancer nurses, is a really important charity, you know, and it's a really important film. And we won 2 awards for casting. So like not the job, you know, like not us, everyone as a whole,
Yes.
but like for casting
specific, yeah.
Specifically. And for me, that was quite, yeah, it was, you know, that it's yeah. I'm trying to let it land.
Yeah.
You know?
Keep letting it land, and because I understand that as well. As you feel all the other emotions, do not negate that emotion. If you're willing to feel
Sorry.
if you're willing to feel the tears, if you're willing to feel the anger, you've got to take.
Well said. You know what? That's beautiful, and I'm going to be well made, and I'm gonna take that from this as my takeaway.
Say that again. You cut out.
Huh?
You cut out. What did you say?
I said I think that's a very, very good point, well made, and I'm going to take that from this as my takeaway. You know, because you're right. I allow myself to feel often, you know. To be honest, I was also thinking about in regards to my acting career. As an actor, you get used to quite a lot of rejection and disappointment. Okay, and so there was something in me that got used to, as well as I had an amazing career. But there's also all the jobs that you don't get, which no one talks about. Yeah, which I found really hard to take.
Wow.
And I think you get comfortable with that. You know, you get comfortable with not getting things that you want. So now when things are like going my way,
yeah,
I'm a little bit like, what is my reaction to this? Do you know what I mean? I'm not used to.
Trust.
I'm like,
100%.
You know?
Yeah. That makes so much sense.
But I'm learning. You know, I'm learning,
yes, true.
And you know, it's growth. So it's good.
Growth indeed. That is so. The accolades come when it goes right. Tell me about the lows when it goes wrong. When you pitch for certain things and you guys don't get it. When things don't fall through.
I'm a lot less. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to I had this great little setup earlier. I'm trying to get it big. I'm quite lucky in the sense that I've grown, so I'm a lot less attached to it. Like I said, in my acting work, I was a lot more attached, and it was often, I took it hard because I thought it was on the way that I looked, and it was often much more on the way that I looked and my performance, you know. Whereas now I can do my job and it doesn't really matter what I look like. Do you know what I mean? I can be having a bad day and I can still do my job well. You know, like it's a different set of skills that also I bring to it, and you know, yeah. Sorry, I got lost there.
That's right.
You know,
but no, it's fine. It makes sense. Like, you know, once you detach yourself from that, you can have the lows and you can have the no's.
Yeah, and with the casting director job that I have now, often the way it works is that the production companies, 3 directors pitch for a job. I don't really pitch. Like, they've already come to me. They're like, yo, do you want to work on this job? I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, why not? And then they go pitch. And if they get it, great, I do the job. If they don't get it, I don't. So the rejection isn't necessarily always mine. It's like theirs. So then I'm like, oh, okay. But sometimes 2 different directors have come to me. So I kind of know whatever happens, I'm going to get the job.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like.
Oh, you can sign it again. Oh.
Battery's low. Sometimes I go up against different casting directors, you know, but the good producers are really honest about it. And actually, like, I believe what's for me is meant for me.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's not going to pass me by. I don't have to compete against anybody. A lot of these other casting directors, they're really cool. A lot of them are really cool women that I know. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, it's like probably I wasn't the best person for it. You know, and that's fine because I'll do something else. You know, there'll be something else that's right for me. I don't want to have to, like, you know, push anyone down the stairs to get it. You know, there was that film when I was growing up, Showgirls, and it was like, are you the kind of person who can push someone down the stairs because you want to get there first? I'm not. I'm cool. You know, like
we can all get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's just a job.
Love it. Your last question, second to last, but it's looking at legacy. So when you've got to leave this earth, how would you like people to? Now, to some degree, you can't control this, but through the work you've done, how would you like people to look back on your life and say, talk about Coralie? What would you like them to say about the work you did, about who you were as a person, about what you stood for?
I think for me, it's I'd like, you know, I'd like to be known as being a kind person, being a good mother, a good sister, a good friend, a good daughter. You know, I think I want to be of service. You know, I want to serve God, serve the planet like I do. That is important to me. I want to make this place better than I left it. I want to contribute to the healing like I do. You know, I feel like I'm trying to heal myself and do some ancestral healing and all that kind of stuff for the betterment of everybody, that everything I do is, you know, may all beings be happy and free, and what I do can contribute somehow to the happiness and freeness to everybody else. You know, that's really important to me. In the meantime, like I like doing the work I do. I feel like it has some small impact, and
No, that's small, some big impact.
and to hear you talk about it and say some of these things is it feels actually very, very nice, and I'm very grateful to be able to do the work that I do, but also be able to be invited to something like this and hear it mirrored back to me. It means a lot. The work that you do is really important to allow this to happen, to you know, have an audience, even with people that I know that are listening to me, that I might not have ever been able to have these conversations with them, or we haven't had the time or whatever. So it's just I like the sharing and the caring, and
100%.
you know.
Your last question is, do you have a question for me?
Oh wow, this is so good.
Be easy now.
What inspires you to keep doing this? Because I can see that it's a lot of hard work and preparation, and you're really present with it. You choose really good guests. You create really good questions, and I can imagine it's quite. Yeah, I know you've got a lot on your plate. I know you work really hard, and you know why you keep doing it.
I ask myself every single time I press live. Do you know what? It's the power of stories. Oh my gosh. We've had, like I said, about 67 episodes.
Wow, man. Honestly, people don't understand that's a lot of
It's a
time.
lot.
It's a lot of time you put in.
A lot of time. But it's the richness in the people's stories that you just can't get away from. And so what you shared today, what Charlotte shared last week, like if you go back and listen, there's so much gems you can pull from everybody's story, and it just shows me that we are connected through the power of our stories. If we're all in a room and you know those networking kind of situations, it's really hard to connect because we're all talking on a surface level. But when you get down to our stories, our life stories, we start to connect. We're like, oh yeah, I used to go to Venezuela when I was a child. Oh my gosh, where did you stay? And that's what forges like those relationships. So the reason I keep doing it, because
it's universal. It's universal, and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable is incredibly intimate, and especially in this day and age when so much of social media, so much of our life lacks intimacy, you know, especially with COVID and things like that. Something like this, where you know I've been allowed to be vulnerable, and you give this opportunity, because I've watched a few, you know, and you really do give people the opportunity to be vulnerable with you, and it's a wonderful thing. So thank you for keeping doing it.
Thank you. Well, Coralie, you have made it to the end of 21 questions. You didn't use one pass card at all.
Oh my god.
Can we have a round of applause, please, in the comment section? You didn't use one pass card.
I didn't use my pass.
That's good. It's good. But you know what? Thank you so much for
Thank you.
Your heart, for the purpose that you carry in your heart, which is to just help and serve. That waitress heart is what you have, in not just in people, but the world, you're trying to, you know, that Michael Jackson song, you really want to make the world a better place. And you're trying to do that through whatever way you can. It's being it's being at the table and making those decisions. It's raising your son and giving him an idea of what this world is like. It's giving a voice to people who don't have voices, giving a face to people who do not have faces out there. So never downplay it. Understand you're doing amazing work, and each time you wake up, just keep giving yourself to this world, because it will find its way to give back to you. Yeah. So
Wow.
thank you for
I'm
today.
so grateful.
No worries at all.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I really appreciate it. It's been a lovely evening.
Awesome.
Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you. I haven't read all the messages, but I've seen a few pop up, and I'm really touched. So thank you.
No worries.
Good night.
Good night. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for 21 questions. If it's your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have like 66 of these that you can check out. Season 1, Season 2. And you can just click on the IGTV link on our profile. This is going to be on our main page as soon as we finish. So if you want to watch it back from the beginning, feel free to. If you want to send it to a friend, feel free to. Comment, share, spread it about as much as you can. Let me just read some of your comments. Zaira, thank you so much for joining us. You said have a wonderful night. Emily, big up Emily. She said incredible, thank goodness. Interpol reminded me. Big up Interpol. Mummy, thank you for joining us. We've got Roadcasting. Everyone, Juliet, thanks for coming again. Winston, next level, both of you, the energy just so amazing. Thank you both. Prisha says, I walked into a magic show. This was so refreshing. Thank you very much. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. 21 Questions will be back next Thursday, 9 p.m. I am Icy. This is the Sit Down UK. Take care. How do I end this again? Can't remember. Oh, yeah.